What's up, everyone? Welcome to Among the Fence, my YouTube channel where I do music reviews. My name is Aaron, and today we're going to be checking out the new album 72 Seasons by the band Metallica. This is their 11th studio album in the band's 42 years of existence, and everyone knows this band, so there's really no reason for me to go into the history of it. There's at least a million other YouTube videos that talk about it. I will say that I am a lover of their first 5 albums, though, Master of Puppets being my favorite. And then right after their self-titled album, I get bored really quick, and I even cringe at some points, specifically with albums like Saint Anger. I don't know if I would really call them dad rock, but they're definitely dad metal for sure, and I don't really expect like 72 Seasons to change any of that, but I'm always, I don't know, I always go into an album with an open mind, and I expect the best, and I have, you know, I hope for the best when I go into an album, and I hope to hear some really cool metal ballads from this and some good thrash songs, even if it's not going to be like, you know, like the top of their game. So let's jump into it. The album opens up with the title track 72 Seasons, which represents the first 18 years of the protagonist's life and how the wrath of man has shaped him within this time. And the intro has a really long build up to it. It becomes pretty groovy as it goes through a couple changes as it goes into the verse. The chorus sounds alright. It doesn't really have the best hook, admittedly. The bridge transition is super long, but the solo does end on some pretty cool harmonics. It's got good energy. That's basically all I can really say about this. The pre-chorus has probably the best part of this entire song. And then we go into one of my least favorite songs on this album, Shadows Follow, which is about how the person's demons, basically, he just can't get away from the badness in his life. It's incredibly long. It's 6 minutes for the amount of stuff that doesn't happen in this song at all. The main riff becomes really boring after about the 12th time of hearing it, and the chorus feels super old. It feels outdated. The only redeeming factor in this song for me was the production. However, I mean, it's just so repetitive. They could have cut off like the last 3 minutes or even like the first minute of this song, and it would have been a lot more enjoyable. It just feels like it just keeps going, and it doesn't really offer a whole lot past anything the first 3 minutes. And then we have the song Screaming Suicide, which is one of my favorites due to its subject matter. It's about how suicide has become so taboo to where people struggling with these thoughts can't really get them out without making people feel uncomfortable. So like when someone ends up committing suicide, we're just like blown away about how, oh my God, I never saw that coming. They have such a great life. They're successful. They have all this money. And it's like, of course you never saw it coming. They don't feel comfortable being able to talk about it because it makes people squirm so much. And the lyrics betray this very well. The riff and the verse is good, as are the vocals. They all sound great. The chorus is a good hook to it and a good melody. The song is just missing a special flair. It's missing something that just really grabs you. Other than the lyrics, I mean, it's just kind of a mid song. There's nothing in it that's really flashy or anything like that, and because of that, it becomes a little dull about halfway through. And then we have another one of my least favorite songs, which is Sleepwalk My Life Away, which is kind of what I felt like this song was doing. The intro is just too long, and it just feels like it's just repeating everything over and over and over again, which kind of makes sense because this is about the monotony of the protagonist just doing the same thing every single day. And nothing really happens in this song, honestly. The chorus has just a little bit of a pickup to it, and then, I don't know, it just goes on for like 7 minutes, and I don't really know why. And then we have the song You Must Burn, which I enjoyed. It's almost like this album just goes up and down, up and down. It has a really entertaining intro, which is a nice change. It has a sad but true kind of riff, as it's kind of a homage to Sad But True, or almost like a part 2, kind of a continuation to it in the verse. The chorus is a really good vocal performance, and it's catchy, and it does it within like another 7-minute long song, which it just progresses, and it just does what a 7-minute long song should do. Is it goes through a bunch of changes. It doesn't just play the same damn riff over and over and over again. There's different sections to this, and it just goes in and out of it. And it just helps you stay alert without feeling like you're about to fall asleep. And even after the bridge, it goes back to the same chorus we've heard so many times before, but just hits so much harder just because so much other stuff has happened in between the last time you heard it. And then we have Lux Eterna, which was one of the singles, or it is the first single, in fact, that they released for this. So it makes sense. It's a little bit more energetic. It just comes off a little bit too late within this album, for sure, because, like I said, it's just the energy's just been down for too long, I feel like. And then once you get to Lux Eterna, you're like, oh, there it is. These guys are alive. I mean, this is a thrash band. This is a metal band. They're not just trying to lull you to sleep. It's pretty basic, though, for Metallica, honestly. And it feels a lot more modern than the rest of the album, which is kind of weird, and it makes it feel even more like a single, like it doesn't really fit in within this album. The chorus is kind of lazy, but it's not boring, for sure. It definitely, again, keeps you awake, up, and alert. But the song is just really repetitive. When I listened to this thing multiple times, I had to really focus and pay attention to hear the verses. Because the only thing that really stands out throughout the whole thing is the chorus. Otherwise, it's just kind of, you just get lost in it. You just get lost. And the chorus is the only thing that comes out, and you're just like, oh yeah. And then you hear it for like maybe 10 seconds. Again, it's kind of lazy, but not boring. And then you just kind of lull off again. Crown of Barbed Wire has another really long intro to it, but it goes through a couple changes, so it doesn't feel like they're just doing the same thing over and over again. It's got a harmonic riff in the verse that sounds good. The chorus is lazy, and honestly, I didn't really care that much for the vocal performance. It does get better, though, the more you hear it. It's a chorus that definitely grows on you. I enjoy this song mostly for its bluesiness, and it does have a throwback to King of Nothing off of their Loaded album. And the more I listen to this album, the more I feel like this would have been a better Reloaded album than Reloaded was, because of all the throwbacks to it. And it works a little bit better, I think. And then we have the song Chasing Light, which I enjoyed quite a bit. It's another mid-tempo song, such as Sleepwalk My Life Away, but it's just a lot more lively, as the protagonist is now pursuing and chasing his goals, or chasing the light to say. And James' vocals sound fantastic in this song. The chorus is unique due to the vocals, and I love that the energy doesn't drop out. And the transitions from verse to chorus to verse is just so freaking smooth. And the bridge has like this southern kind of riff to it that's unique as well. Again, it's nothing like super crazy or anything, but it's just enough to stand out so much more within this album, and I loved it. My second favorite song on this album is If Darkness Had a Sun. It's got a long intro, but I dig the riff with the little lick at the end of it. It sounds great. The verses stand out quite a bit by having just really drum forward sound, and the vocals, they just do a different kind of thing than what we're used to hearing on this album. And it comes full circle as we go to the chorus again. That's got these fat, huge chords that stand out a lot. And I enjoyed that, just the feel of this song. The protagonist is finally accepting who he is, and at the same time, he's like, this is why I am the way I am. This is, you know, if darkness had a son, if evil had a son, this is me, because my parents, especially the wrath of man, was absolutely horrible. And yeah, I'm just a victim of that. And then we have the song Too Far Gone, which is another song I didn't enjoy that much. As I said before, this album just kind of goes up and down for me. It shows off Metallica's more groove metal side than anything else, and it looks at the protagonist's consequences of isolating themselves. And I didn't really care that much for the vocal choices in the verse, and the chorus is very anticlimactic. What I did enjoy about this song is it didn't linger around. It didn't spend a minute just playing the same riff over and over and over again, like if it's the sickest riff in the whole world, so you just want to hear it forever, like all these other songs. They didn't spend too much time on any specific part. It just flows and it moves. And that part I enjoyed. Even though I didn't like too much of the song, I enjoyed that it went through it and it was over quick. And my favorite song on this album is Room of Mirrors, which has lyrical content that kind of reminds me a little bit of Sweating Bullets. Don't tell James I said that, though. It's probably the thrashiest song on this album, and I love the mixture of that thrash music and James's more singy kind of vocals. His vocals are very smooth, and they have more of a melody to them on this, and just the mixture of the two sounds great. The progressive chorus is also fantastic as well. I love that it sounds like you have this kind of longer pre-chorus and then the chorus, but it's actually just the whole chorus, and it's great songwriting. And I'll even say that this has the best solo on the album as well. In fact, it's probably the only solo that really stood out to me or caught my ear whatsoever. And then we have the closing track, Inamorata, I believe that's how it's pronounced, which stands for a female lover in Latin. And this is also the longest song that Metallica has ever done, coming in at 11 minutes and 10 seconds. I was really worried that the intro would be a bore, but honestly, it wasn't that bad. It was good, and I really liked the vocal melody in the chorus. The main riff has this good ascending kind of feel to it. The riff kind of before the bridge guitar solo section and during the bridge and during the guitar solo is one of the best moments on this album. That riff is so big, and I wonder why they didn't do anything else like that on this album, because that would have been pretty cool. Honestly, I wanted to complain about this song. I wanted to so bad. When I saw it was going to be 11 minutes and 10 seconds, and I struggled with the 6-minute long songs, I was just like, here we go, I'm going to lay it into this. But honestly, this song works. Even the 2 guitar solos worked. I mean, it sounded good. It sounded like everything in this song belonged there. It didn't feel like they did anything that was unnecessary. And I found myself really enjoying it. It doesn't feel like a closing track for sure, just because, I don't know, I feel like they didn't really dive far enough into this concept to really make it feel like a full story and like there's an end to the story. But as far as their longest song on here, it doesn't feel nearly as long as the songs that are about half of the length. I enjoyed this album, but at the same time, there weren't really too many high points in it for me, aside from like 2 to 3, maybe 4 songs on it really that I will come back and listen to. The rest of the songs were pretty bland. I did like the production, and James's vocals were pretty good for the most part. My only complaints that I ever really had with his vocals were mostly due to production or just his vocal choice, which it sounds kind of dated more than anything else. Most of the songs would have been a lot better if they didn't have a minute-long just a jam session of playing the same riff at the beginning of each freaking song. Every song starts out the same way. You could skip a minute of each one of these songs and you won't miss anything whatsoever. And I don't know why they threw it on there. It's like they thought that this riff was really cool and people want to hear it forever, when in fact, like after listening to this album 3 times, I didn't want to hear it anymore. I would actually, when I was doing this review, and I would actually start kind of mapping things out, and I just want to get to the meat of the album, I'd basically just skip the first minute of every single one of these songs. I don't know, you just lose your ability to care, because it all starts to sound exactly the same. And I gotta say, again, kind of like the last song on this, I wanted to hate this album. I wanted it to just be another cringy old man Metallica album, but this, honestly, it wasn't that bad. I enjoyed it. I feel like Metallica fans, more diehard Metallica fans that listen to, you know, stuff after their self-titled The Black Album, will probably dig this album quite a bit. It's definitely one of their better pieces of work in the past, like, 20 years or so. And yeah, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. There could have been some cringy moments on it, which I gotta say, there wasn't really anything that was worth cringing over. It's just good old-fashioned dad rock. It's just the only issue they had was that the length was a little too long. It's a pretty long album for sure. So with all that said, I gotta give 72 Seasons by Metallica a 6.3 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of 72 Seasons. Let me know what your favorite song is, and let me know what you would rate it. And I feel like this album might be, I don't know, it probably isn't going to be too polarizing, to be completely honest. I feel like most people are going to probably agree with me. But yeah, leave a comment below, let me know what you thought. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. If you want to help support me and my channel, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon. Doing any of that stuff helps me out tremendously, and I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to listen to me sit here and talk about music. And I just hope you have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you happen to be watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time. I was